Today in the news, we got a new 3D Mark tool, and we got some Navi 31 leaks, a couple of patents, and some speculation from my part. What's up guys, I'm Snows, and this is your boot sequence. Before that, let me take a second to thank today's video sponsor, WhoKeys. WhoKeys is where you can buy keys like this one for Windows 10 Pro. Get yourself a license with that link down in the description and click buy now and enter the code BTS25 for 25% off. And then you just submit your order, and once you're through with your payment and you receive your key, go to your computer, click on the Windows button, type in activate, and update or change your product key. It's that simple. Let's get started with AMD. The company really showed its enterprise dominance with their latest event. They pretty much revealed their entire CPU lineup for the next couple of years, with up to 96 cores on the upcoming Genoa platform with Zen 4, and up to 128 Zen 4C cores on their Bergamo platform. They also revealed the insanity that is their MI250X Instinct GPU. Seriously, this one is a monster. It uses the CDNA 2 architecture and can have up to 220 compute units. That's a lot. The highest end 6000 series RDNA 2 GPU has a max of 60. All in all, in specific applications, it wipes the floor with Nvidia's A100. And yes, for me, the most interesting thing is that it's a multi-die design. Not chiplet design, but multi-die. What's the difference? Well, remember first generation Zen? Well, on the mainstream platforms, we got everything on one chip, up to 8 cores. And on higher end processors, like with Threadripper and Epyc, we got a multi-die design, or multi-chip, meaning that we had more than one chip on the substrate, but they all were identical and all were essentially individual CPUs. They were just communicating with each other using the Infinity Fabric. When the chiplets appeared with Zen 2, we had one chip that controlled the I/O and a different type of chip for the processing cores. That was AMD's Chiplets. This allowed for better yields for AMD, and of course, they could focus their efforts on improving the actual Zen architecture without worrying about the I/O die. It's the same on both Zen 2 and Zen 3. But why am I going on about this? Well, leaker extraordinaire Greymon55 recently tweeted some extra information on Navi 31. Now, there were some things that we already knew, like 5nm plus 6nm, over 15,000 stream processors, but he did add some new information, though he is uncertain about it. It could have up to 32 gigabytes of GDDR6 running at 18 gigabits per second. It could have up to 512 megabytes of Infinity cache, and that cache would be in 3D, so stacked on top of a chip. Now, while all of this is interesting, it was the mention on another tweet that caught my attention. This one, CDNA 2 MCM, RDNA 3 chiplets. So the MI250X Instinct GPU that AMD announced is essentially the first gen multi-die. So like Threadripper 1000 or first gen Epyc CPUs. And RDNA 3, aka Navi 31, could be a chiplet design like Zen 2 and Zen 3. On top of that, I recall reading a patent from AMD where the L3 cache was located on a separate layer instead of it being on the processing die. The L3 cache layer would be in a chiplet that would be placed on top or below the GPU chips, and it would connect them together. That stacking technology is exactly what they're doing on Zen 3D V-Cache, except now it doubles as a bridge between the two processing chip, it doubles as L3 cache area, and possibly a memory controller. I mean, with the rumored 512 megabytes of L3, you need serious die space. Take a look at Navi 21. All of this die space is a fifth of what AMD is planning to put on Navi 31. So stacking it on top in a different layer is definitely a smarter way of doing things. I suspect that this I/O die would use 6nm and the processing dies, the actual GPUs, would use 5nm. They wouldn't be able to stick to an older process here like they do with Zen CPUs for the simple fact that the cache would need to be on the chiplet stack, so it would need to be as fast as possible. Like the 410 here is the clear silicon that AMD uses to thermally diffuse the heat of the 3D V-Cache CPUs and also make it all the same height. All of that is based on rumors, leaked patents, and more that have popped up about RDNA 3/Navi 31. Remember, this has been in the rumor mill since early 2020, heck, even before that. Now, of course, you gotta take this with a grain of salt. This is essentially leaked information with my twist on it based on previous knowledge. It's basically an educated guess. But yeah, it's all super interesting. In other news, we got 3D Mark. The company just added a new benchmark, which, in my opinion, is quite interesting. It's designed to test SSD performance, but instead of just, transferring basic files in different sizes like Crystal Disk Mark, AS SSD, and Atto Benchmark, it runs your SSD through what I would consider to be the realist real-world gaming performance benchmarks. It uses traces recorded from popular games to measure performance. So that means things like loading Battlefield 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, or Overwatch from launch all the way up to the main menu. Another task is recording a 1080p gameplay video at 60 FPS with OBS while playing Overwatch. Another one is installing the Outer Worlds from the Epic Games launcher, saving game progress in the Outer Worlds, copying the Steam folder for CSGO from an external SSD to the system drive. In the end, it gives you both bandwidth data and your average access time. There's also a score that lets you compare your results online. I'm definitely going to add that to my bench suite because I bought 3D Marks a couple of months ago. Anyways, guys, that is pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Drop a like if you liked it, a comment if you want to talk about today's stories. As usual, you can click right here to see the latest video right here. To subscribe to the channel, they're going to pop up right now. And yeah, stay frosty, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.